the key things you can do with USP data is create saved searches, which are essentially your combination of criteria applied against the 5 million live companies to produce a list of companies and a report, which you can download in much the same way as the standard reports through this download report area. So you can get the PDF, the spreadsheet, or the mailing list for just the companies that meet your requirements. And you do this on the workspace, which you access through this menu item here. So I'm going to create a new search on the workspace. And what you have here is a series of financial, geographic, keyword, and sector combinations to help you refine the 5 million companies down to a target group that suits you. As you make these definitions and requests, they get listed here. It shows you the number of companies that match and so on. And then you can save this into a saved search by clicking here. So I'm going to demo this with the following criteria. I'm looking for medium-sized companies, which I'm defining as net worth greater than $1 million and employees between 10 and 100 in the Northwest region, and they need to be insurance agents or brokers. So this is a sort of typical use of the service. So here's the financial selector. I'm going to pick from the 42 available, I'm going to pick the number of employees as my first criterion. So I want between 10, the minimum, and 100, the maximum. And there's my first criteria. So I'm going to add this into a search, which I'm going to call insurance prospects. Insurance prospects. Okay. So that's the name of the saved search that I'm going to create when I press this button here. So I'm going to add my first criteria into that, and there we go. And what you'll see is the number here is the number of companies that matched that financial criteria of the 5 million that were on the database. So if I scroll down here through the 42 possibilities, I'm going to go down to net worth, and I'm going to put in 1 million of as my minimum value. So I'm only interested in companies with net worth greater than 1 million. And I'm going to add that criterion to the existing one I've got about employees. And that brings the total number that makes both those criteria down to 59,000 companies. Now I'm going to move to geographic criteria. So it's UK companies we've got on the database here. I can pick a postcode and a radius from that postcode. I could pick councils, and I could zoom in on councils and just pick the ones that I wanted. I could pick counties and same idea, just pick the ones that I want. Or in my case, I just want the Northwest region. So I'm going to pick that and move that criterion across. And that's going to produce rather more companies. But the intersection between those two is we're now looking at 5,700 odd companies. So think about it in terms of Venn diagram. There's all the companies that were matching the geographic criteria. There's the companies that matched both criteria, and there's the companies that only matched the financial criteria, but not the geographic. Now I'm going to do some keyword searching. So I could try insurance, and I want companies that have insurance and agent, or insurance and agents, or brokers, or broker. So I can put any combination of words here, and if I pick in the middle, then I'm going to get companies that have both the word insurance and one or more of these words here. So I click there, and that is my sentence. And if I move that across, I'm going to get a few hundred companies that matched that business description, or from their website, or and then the company name. And then a key thing you can do in this service, the USP service, is you can use the existing lists that have been researched. So if I'm looking for insurance companies, something to do with insurance, I can type the word insurance here, and I can pick from company reports that are the standard reports that are something to do with insurance, and the one I want is insurance intermediaries, which will be agents and brokers. I can do the same search of insurance against the SIC reports, and it turns out to be this SIC code here. So I can add those two groups of companies across to my list of selections, and it will produce 40 companies that match all those criteria. So anytime you use the keyword search, and probably any time at all actually, I would recommend having a look at the companies you've got before you go to press. So double clicking on the target icon opens the list view with the current target group, and that is it there. And I can use this to do searches such as, for example, if I didn't want anything to do with life insurance, if I type the word life, anything to do with life insurance comes back, and I could get, well, I don't really want that one, or I don't want any of them. I could just click there. You'll notice that the green tick turned to a red X. If I get rid of that word life, I could go down and just click on any of them. And any of these companies I can actually look at to see if I'm actually looking at the right sort of company. I can double click on a company. It takes me through to the company itself. I can see what they're about and so on. In other words, the detail of the company, and I can then decide whether I want to keep it or not. So this is a way of fine-tuning the listing in the list view, and once I've done that, eventually the red X's are effectively an exclusion list, which reduce my selections down to 33. Now, if I want to save that saved search, I would press here, and it would ask me whether I want to save my saved search insurance prospects containing the 33 companies. I'm going to say yes. So what happens now is that in the background, the system will generate that report called Insurance Prospects with the 33 companies, and it will be listed on the dashboard in the Saved Search area. You notice it's in red at the moment, which means it's still being computed, but eventually it will turn to white, and then once it has, I can click on it and download the various pieces that I want in the normal way. Hopefully that explains how you would use or create a custom search and save the search here in the form of a report.